Sorry, I had to play it. So Joe Perry hasn't seen this guitar yet, and this video won't come out until he sees it first.
Right.
But did he ask you to build this, or is this a surprise as well?
When we were on the East Coast, it was right after I had given him the 1325 guitar, and he came over and was telling me that he really loved that guitar, that he felt like I knocked it out of the park with it, and he said the only thing that I don't like about your guitar, and I, you know, as a guitar builder, I was all ears. I was like, oh, what did I screw up? And he said, I only have one of them. And he said, the next one you build, put a bar on it. So I put a bar on this one. It's just pretty much the exact same design as the 1325, but it has the tremolo system on it.
And you use a Wilkinson.
Yeah.
So
but that's the one that he has on his signature Les Paul.
Okay.
And so it just kind of floats over and seems like it's got a little more consistency.
It is,
something he's already used to.
It is floating. He sets his as floating.
Yeah, he likes his guitars to where when you fret it on the high E on the 12th fret, pull it up, that it has a full step worth of a bend.
Yeah, I do as well. So one more thing about the wood. I know this is torrefied, but it's clear coat is my understanding.
Yeah, it's all clear coat.
So the sugar's in there?
Yeah, what's happened is instead of looking, you know, like this is maple as well. This is a flamed maple as well. But you can see the drastic color difference here. This torrefying, what they do is it's a heat treating that when they heat treat it, it ends up cooking the sugars, caramelizing the sugars inside the wood, and it gives it kind of a little bit of this maple syrupy vibe, if you will. It's very cool. It looks like an old piece of wood.
And speaking of old, check out this mahogany. So it looks like it has some mineral deposits, but you said
I used a slightly off wood grain filler when I filled the back of it, so it makes the grain a little lighter instead of being darker or the same color as the wood. So it kind of gives it that kind of an old piece of wood look to it.
I mean, I hope the camera can show you how gorgeous this is. Maple neck or?
This is a Honduran mahogany as well.
Okay. Just lighter finish?
Yeah, just a different piece of wood.
And then look at this. This Joe Perry. That's so cool. Got that? I'll take a picture. Any
Yeah, this is the back plate there that's a piece of ebony that I hand carved the broken glass part into it, and then I filled that with crushed mother of pearl. And this is my first forgery job. That's a Joe Perry signature.
It is?
Yeah. And I cut that out with a jeweler's saw out of a piece of aluminum and inlaid that into the back plate.
Wow.
So, and I like having my back plates kind of look like a guitar pick. I'm a musician myself. I'm a little bit of a dork, so
yeah,
it's kind of cool. It fits the guitar, and then that way it looks like, you know, a guitar pick you caught at a concert. You know?
And then Koto button tuners for guitar specifics. And before I play the pickups,
yeah, the key buttons on it are ebony. I swapped those out with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally they come in there just a straight stock gold. So I mean, everything about this guitar has been customized.
I love your logo, MOE.
Yeah. Like all the way down to the volume knob. The volume knob on this thing goes to 11.
It does. Well, I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture. First thing I said today when he showed me the guitar, I was like, why don't I have 11s on mine? Because when you need that extra push over the edge.
That's right.
No, I really, by the way, just going back, I really like your logo.
Thank you.
Because it's recognizable. It's not intrusive.
I like it because it looks more like a little bit of war paint on the headstock, and it doesn't look like a Coca-Cola or Pepsi logo just splashed across.
Right. But if I saw this, I'd go, oh, that's Brandon's guitar. That's cool. And then this is a thumb screw. Look, I'm using my index finger.
Yeah, it's like a little thumb scoop, swoop, whatever. It's just a recess that I like to carve into the headstock. I think it gives it a... I like the way that my headstock kind of looks kind of like a bishop chess piece, somewhat, you know, like the profile of it.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I felt like that, putting that little scoop in it, kind of gave it a cool looking vibe, and I've always done it since. So.
Sorry, I had to play it. Break relax, retune. What's in tune? It must have been my fingers. Brandon's been raving about his pickup configuration that he puts on his guitars for years. And today I finally got it. Because I'm more of a 5-way Strat switcher guy, and you know, can't teach a dog old tricks, but it's awesome. Up above here, I got a big toggle, one volume knob, by the way, a big toggle for your 3-way, right? But what's really cool is these Seymour Duncan pickups, and I want him to tell you about that and how these two toggle switches work independently for each pickup.
Yeah. Well, these are the P-rail pickups. I really dig these. I tried these just on a whim, and out of nowhere, they literally became my favorite pickup of all time overnight. Prior to using these pickups, I was always a JB and a jazz guy. You can't beat that combination. And hearing these, I was like, you just beat that combination. Way to go, Seymour. Way to go. What it is it's basically a full-size P90 with a blade single coil next to it. And because a blade single coil has a little bit of a lower output, the P90 has a little bit of a hotter output, when you combine the two of them, you get a humbucker. You know what I mean? It's like having a legitimate P90 and then that blade single coil and that humbucker all in one guitar. Instead of having, you know, a standard guitar with a 3-way switch, this literally gets 15 different sounds instead of 3. You know, and even if you had push-pulls on it, that if you had individuals for both pickups, that would still only get you up to 8. You know, so I mean, the versatility out of this thing and being able to just make it sound like a Les Paul Jr., make it sound like a Telly, make it sound like a Les Paul, make it sound like a Strat. It's just, this guitar really, this configuration allows for so much versatility that, yeah, I feel like I found the Holy Grail.
So let's hear it.
This bridge pickup is kind of this switch does the bridge pickup.
Okay.
So think of it as a standard 3-way switch, the way that it would operate standardly, where it's the bridge side, both coils, or the neck side. Except for this one just does the bridge pickup. So you get the bridge side coil, both coils, or the neck side coil.
Both coils being the humbucker.
Yeah, both coils being the humbucker. Bridge side coil in this particular instance would be the P90. In the next instance, because they've reversed the way that the pickup is made, the bridge side coil becomes a blade single coil.
You can actually see the
But
the
you
rail.
can see it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, from a player's perspective, you look over and, you know, you've got one switch for your neck pickup and one switch for your bridge pickup, and you can decide, oh, I want my bridge pickup to be a humbucker, and I want my neck pickup to be a P90. Bam! Then you just treat the regular 3-way like it's a regular 3-way, and you go to town.
That's kind of what I did.
So
we're going to go through that, but let me just show you. I was trying to get some jazz tones, right? So and then I like that tone. And then if I wanted to go single coil but stay there, I was doing this.
It thins right up.
Yeah, but and I can feel the spank.
Yeah.
Because I'm not feeling a difference in volume, but I am feeling it is thinner, but I'm feeling more of that single coil spank.
Well, we are using a tube amp, and the impedance, the difference of an impedance when you're changing that on the pickup, it hits the front end of the amp differently. So if you're using, say, a standard single coil, like out of a Strat, the output out of those is usually about 6.5K, and it hits the front end of the amp a lot softer than if you've put in, you know, say, a hotter humbucker that might be running around 12 or 15K. You know what I mean? That's going to hit the front end of the amp, and it's going to make it growl and bark a lot sooner. Whereas if you go to the lower impedances, it kind of gives you a little more headroom before it barks. And that's really usable depending on what you're trying to go after. You know, if you want to be able to dig in without having it growl out at you just quite yet, you can dial that in.
Yeah.
But if you want it to bark at you when you get to a certain point, you can dial that in too.
Let's see.
That's why I say these pickups are just versatile.
So I'm on the neck pickup, and I have it the way I like it sounding, mainly with the P90. But I switched to the single coil. But let's just go to the bridge position, and I have full humbucker. And there's some bark.
You lose some of that high end and that upper mid-range definition. Now all of a sudden it's thicker, it's fuller, it's, you know, richer. Yeah. It's a drastically different sound than having that single coil.
Let's go through each sound. I'll do a quick punchy.
Yeah, just do a similar riff and we'll switch through it.
You describe where we're at. We're going to start with the humbucker?
Let's start with the humbucker. Let's start with the lower impedances, and we'll work our way up from there. So this is going to be the Blade single coil.
Okay. Ready?
P90. Now a humbucker. You can hear how that one pickup.
Yeah.
You could hear how that one pickup was just so drastically different in those two.
From a player's perspective, I'm feeling the single coils. I'm definitely knowing where the humbucker is because that's where I live. But every time we go to the P90, I feel like I'm in Les Paul Jr. land. That's really cool.
To me, the P90 is the unsung hero of Guitar World.
Right.
A lot of the tones that musicians themselves are like, oh, I gotta get that Strat tone. That Strat tone, 9 times out of the 10, was recorded in the studio with a Les Paul Jr.
Yeah.
So that slightly hotter output, that slightly warmer, beefier single coil that everybody is hunting for and for their Strat and their Tellys and stuff, it's not a single coil. Well, it is a single coil, but it's a P90.
Yeah, it's a P90. It's on beat.
So to me, like I said, it's the unsung hero. It's that secret weapon that you can pull out of your toolbox and be like, oh yeah, check this out. And people go, wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. All right, so let's give the neck pickup a twirl.
Okay, let's do that. Switch it over to the neck pickup, and you're at a single coil.
All right.
P90. And humbucker.
That's thick.
And with your standard 3-way switch, you now have a combination of 6 sounds here and the 6 sounds here. You have any combination of those 6 sounds now at your fingertips as well.
This is the single coil. This is really nice. So,
it's got a surprising amount of spank and jangle to it, doesn't it?
It really does. So, one thing we forgot to mention is this is a Strat scale length.
Yeah, 25.5-inch scale length. One of Joe's favorite guitars is his 59 Les Paul. And so I wanted to be able to have, when he picks up a guitar, to have it be as close to home as possible and feel as close to, oh, this is like an old pair of pants. And so I looked up as many different specs as I could of 59 necks, found a good mean average, and built this. Basically, it's a 59 Les Paul neck, but it's in a Fender 25.5-inch scale.
That's really cool. As a player, it feels like a Les Paul neck, but a little thick here, but not as thick as some Les Pauls, and then it thins out, which is really kind of cool. Not drastically, but it feels a lot thinner than a Les Paul, at least the ones I have. Once you get past the 7th fret, comfortable neck. I can actually do the thumb over.
Right, the Jimi Hendrix chords.
I got my Jimi Hendrix thumb. All right. So, this is the Vampire guitar, Joe Perry's guitar. He will be seeing it very soon. The reason Brandon wanted me to come and try it out is his words were, you got to give it a spank and make sure everything's fine from a player's perspective. So I feel super honored. Thank you.
Yeah, like every guitar I build, granted I play too, but I want to make sure that I'm not being biased because I am each one of these guitars' father, more or less. I build these things in my garage literally from scratch. I don't assemble them. I don't buy parts and, put this neck on that body. I make necks. I make bodies.
Yeah.
So it's...
He's a one-man operation.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into each one of these, so each one of these, when I'm done with them, feels like my baby. And I don't want to be like, oh, it's awesome because I made it. I like to put it in a musician's hands and get that feedback so that if they say, this feels a little weird or, wow, I really like how this feels, I can make note of that and I can either do that or not do that in future builds.
It's, he had me a little self-conscious today because he says, I've never thought about this, but he says when you're a tech and you're working on guitars, you hear guys play all the time, and some guys you just like, you're over it, and other and he goes, but I like the things you do, and I'm thinking today, I'm sick of my licks. Brandon heard them all. I'm also thinking I've got to play my licks because I know what they sound and I know how
Well, that's the thing is, certain guys will come in and, like you said, you give them the guitar back, check that out, make sure it's okay. And some guys, when they start playing, you're so into it that when they stop and they're like, yeah, that's all right, you're like, no, please, keep playing, But, sometimes it's not so good, too. There's been times when, you hand somebody a guitar, you did some work on the upper register up by where, the 12th, 15th fret area or something like that, and you say, go ahead and check it out and see what you think, and they'll start playing cowboy chords and singing to you, serenading you, and that's a little frustrating, but when you have those players that are like yourself, that you come in and you're like, no, keep playing, seriously. I enjoy just listening to what you guys can do on my guitars.
I was on it.
Like you said, everybody has their riffs.
Right.
And we get sick of our own riffs.
I use mine as a measurement.
Other people hear our riffs and are like, ooh, I like that. Or, why are you serenading me?
Yeah. Well, I feel honored that I got to be Joe Perry's stunt guitarist for a day, and this is awesome. What an awesome guitar. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, but also contact Brandon on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube as well, MOE Custom Guitars.
And if you want him to build a guitar for you, you see how much thought and effort and artistry goes into them, contact him and he'll build one for you.
Perfect.
All right, this is Mundo and Brandon signing off from the COVID period, masking up. Until next time, aloha.